Welcome to my presentation on using LinkedIn for real estate agents. My name is Steve Kodad, and I have been a real estate agent myself for over 20 years. I no longer am in that career of yours because I found something that sort of changed my direction, and I need to tell you what that is because I keep using it for examples throughout this presentation. But again, this is for real estate agents, and you'll find that this is going to be very helpful to improve your networking and to pick up clients. Right now, and for the last 10, 11 years, I've been training people in using feng shui with real estate, helping people sell their homes, helping people find homes that are perfect for them to buy. So this has become my niche. I got involved because I was in real estate, and then I learned about feng shui at that point, became so enamored with it that I decided to change career direction. But again, I've been in the trenches just like y'all, and you'll find out that LinkedIn can be very, very helpful to you. I've been teaching for a long time, well over 30 years. I started as a public school teacher and taught probably your favorite subject of all time, mathematics. Probably not. LinkedIn, about 6 years ago, sent me this message. And it was very surprising to me. I had no idea that I was doing so well, you might say, picking up connections. But they sent me this message about 6 years ago telling me that I was one of the top 5% most connected LinkedIn members worldwide. Now, I'm not just saying that to pat myself on the back. I really want you to look at the number below that. At that time, 6 years ago, there were 200 million members of LinkedIn. And it has grown tremendously over those last 6 years. And might be one of the reasons why Microsoft thought it was such a great investment. They bought LinkedIn in 2016 for this amazing figure of over 26 billion. And they also knew that millennials were joining in droves. And these are certainly your future clients, your future buyers and sellers, because they have found out that these people are joining LinkedIn thinking it's got an awful lot of value to it. Now, LinkedIn now is not 200 million people worldwide. In 6 years, it has actually more than tripled. There are a lot of people around the world that use LinkedIn, a lot. And the United States has a lion's share of that. And there's a lot of people on there that are potential clients for you. An interesting fact, once again, that I want you to take into account here is that some of the younger users, students who have just graduated, are signing up for LinkedIn. They think that LinkedIn has a tremendous amount of value. So you should too. These, again, are going to be people that are going to be of interest in buying and selling houses. LinkedIn users are 4 times more likely to visit your website than Facebook users. I have no idea if you have a website or not. To me, this was a very, very valuable thing. I wanted to get people to my website. And I found out it really helped. The more I got involved with LinkedIn, the more I raised up on Google and Yahoo. LinkedIn has the highest visitor to lead conversion rate among all social platforms. Look how much higher it is than Twitter and Facebook. And finally, on this particular slide, LinkedIn is the 9th most visited website in the United States. If you're not getting on LinkedIn every day and using this amazing tool, I think you're really, really missing something. Here's another reason for you to really seriously think about switching your efforts, say, from Facebook or maybe even Twitter, and putting your emphasis on LinkedIn. These are where the leads are generated. LinkedIn is a business social platform. So if you're getting on social media and you're really wanting to improve your business, this is the place to be. And look at the number of conversions. Again, it's not even close. So if you're really wanting to, again, convert people that are connected to you in some way, this is the place to be. So what's our goal? Well, to me, it's fairly simple. You want to add more connections that can be turned into potential clients for you and your business. And so we're going to be talking mostly about that situation. That is what we want to do. We want to get as many people that know about you, who might want to use your services or possibly refer you. And to do this, we've got to make sure they never forget you. Never forget you. Here's an important secret for you to take away. LinkedIn is a game. LinkedIn's based on a point system. The more points you get, the stronger you look to LinkedIn and to other users. You need to acquire points, a lot of them. So the more points you accumulate, the better you are thought of by LinkedIn, and the easier you are found on searches. So one big way is to get lots and lots of connections. They'll just look at you as a bigger player, but so will somebody that finds you on a search. You're going to be dismissed if you do not have a fair number of connections, that you're not showing any strength. It sort of looks like you don't really pay attention to LinkedIn or get on very infrequently. So you've got to get at least 501 connections. Why 501? Well, if you've ever looked at, again, people's profiles, some of them are showing 500 plus up at the top of their connections. You'll never see a number bigger than that. So even though at this point, while I'm recording this, I just picked up my 15,500th connection, I don't show up any differently than if you have 501 connections. So if you don't have 500 connections, you've got to make sure you work at that to get to that point to start with. Again, LinkedIn will look at you bigger, but so will anybody that finds you through a search. They'll figure, okay, they pay attention to LinkedIn. I might want to do some networking with them. I might want to contact them. I might want to look them up. And a really neat thing that I found out from using LinkedIn is that it actually helped me on search engines like Google, which is really the one that I pay the most attention to. But it really helped me with search engines. But LinkedIn drives people to blogs and sites so much more than any other social media platform. You've got to keep that in mind, again, if you want to use this for business. Now, if you look at this particular slide, where I actually decided to snip this because I was so ecstatic when I saw this one day. Again, I'm involved with feng shui in real estate. That is my niche. So one of the set of keywords that I've always sort of looked at every day to see where I was with respect to Google was feng shui real estate. So one morning I type it in, as you can see up at the top. And what happened is that I came up at number 2, which of course is excellent. And sometimes I come up at number 1. So I'm always on the first page, which is where I want to be for this particular set of keywords. But I also that day showed up at number 7 for my LinkedIn profile. That just made me really, really pleased because again, it was just another way to be able to get somebody to check me out, see what I'm all about. So it'll help you even on the search engines. Now I need to review connections a little bit, just in case you're not totally sure of what's what, because I'm going to keep emphasizing first connections. So type 1 or first connections are people who are directly connected to you. They are very, very special. And most people on LinkedIn don't treat them that way. So if you learn to treat your first connections really well, they're going to remember you and they will refer you if somebody in their network is interested in what you do. So you got to treat them special. Again, you need to have at least 501, and I'd like you to have even more than that. Now, second connections are indirectly connected to you. They're connected to a first connection of yours, but not directly to you. Those people are very important also, because we're going to have a plan to try to pick them up and make them a first connection. Once you have a person that is a first connection, you can communicate with them over and over and over for free. Whether or not you're a free, using a free version of LinkedIn or you are paying monthly. And then type 3 connections, they're not connected in any way at this moment. But again, if we work with it, we possibly can get them eventually to becoming first connections also. Check this graph out and you can see that there's an awful lot of people who are not having a lot of connections on LinkedIn. You don't want to be one of those people. So I'm advocating you to spend 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes working on your plan with LinkedIn. And you'll notice that this is a 24/7 advertisement of you. If you work your profile really well, you're able to tell everybody in the world what you are all about for free. It never goes away. It never has to be loaded up every day. It's there. So again, think of it as a 24/7 advertisement of you. Now, the largest group on here is the 500 to 999 connections. But look how small it really is. 21.7%. Okay. That is the least that you should be at. That's the least. But look again at all the bars on this bar graph below it of people who are really not doing enough to make LinkedIn work for them. Now, again, I'm in the 1.3% there, but you don't have to get there to really reap some great benefits from this. So you need a plan. We always need a plan. And so I'm hoping to give you some ideas of how to handle that 10 minutes. So a plan you follow every day can be very, very important. And you need a plan for first connections and second connections. Yes, every day you're going to try to get some new first connections by inviting some second connections to join you. So how do you do this? How do you get these points to show strength and win the game? Well, you do it this way. Number one, you need to complete out your profile page. This is a huge producer of points for you. And sadly, many people don't do this. Remember that bar graph. I promise you, even the people that have over 500 connections have not even done this. And they're wondering, well, why have I spent all this time getting these people connected and nobody seems to find me or nobody seems to contact me? Well, here's one of the reasons: because you haven't completed out your profile page. You've really got to work at that. And I mean, every one of the sections should have something in it. Yes, put your education in there. Yes, put all of your experience in there, and so forth. The highest point value comes from your tagline. I am going to show you some really poor taglines. These are people that are just sort of wasting their time. And you'll find out that I'm going to keep bringing up the following number: 120. You have 120 characters to play with on your tagline. Too many people use maybe 15, 16 spaces. You've got to make sure you work hard on your tagline and use keywords. Your summary, which is also called the about in LinkedIn, you need to be working on that also. And you need to be using keywords there too. And I'll show you examples of all of this in just a moment. But your summary has to catch them also. You have to keep encouraging them to scroll down your profile page and get to know you and get to trust you. You need to start joining some groups. And I'll give you some examples of this, of some groups that I'm a member of. And you'll find out that it increases your networking tremendously. And again, there's no cost to it. Some groups will accept you immediately. Some will take a couple of days to possibly look at your profile to see if you're a good fit. But it's a great way to network and look for people who might need your service. I'm going to advocate throughout this for you to write some articles. And I'm not talking about several pages here. I'm talking about maybe just a paragraph once in a while with a nice colorful picture. And by doing that and by publishing that on LinkedIn, it makes you more known and possibly even the expert. You also need to do in your daily plan, doing some comments and likes on the timeline, on the main page. And again, I'm not asking for a lot here. This is just part of that 10 minutes I'd like you to spend every day. But you can get by doing a comment or several likes with less than a minute. And then, of course, I want you to have a plan to add more connections. And again, you don't have to add hundreds and hundreds of people every day. Shoot for 5, 10, which would be great. So let's talk about the hugely important profile page. One of the goals here is to get people to your profile page and be impressed. If your profile page has not been taken care of, it hasn't been filled out, it's not colorful, you know, you have that one time to impress them. They're not going to come back. So as you can see down at the bottom, I want you to forgive me just in case I pick up on your profile page, which I doubt, but there are some really poor profile pages out there. So I'm going to pick them apart so that you don't follow in their footsteps. Here's one right here. And Sherry does not have a picture. She doesn't have a banner. She doesn't have a good tagline. So she's missing the boat greatly. And she might be wondering why nobody ever seems to find her this way. Now, Cliff's got a colorful picture, and he is looking right at you, which is great. And that's what I'd like you to do with your photo. But notice the darker blue part up there, which is where the banner goes. There's nothing there. And a banner is free. You just have to put a picture in there. That's it. I'll show you some examples of that in a moment. And look at his tagline, head landscaper. Nobody is ever going to type that in. Nobody's going to ever find Cliff for what he does. And I'm sure he does more than what he's got listed there. Michael, his picture is at least he's facing you. I'd rather him probably smiling at you, but I would definitely want it to be more colorful. Black and white photos are a no. He's got no banner and a really poor tagline. Here's mine, or at least it was mine. I've changed it a little bit in the last 6 weeks, but this is what I'm all about. My niche is working with real estate agents, home stagers, and anybody that wants information about using feng shui for real estate. And if you notice, my banner is extremely colorful, and I had it created by somebody on Fiverr. That's Fiverr. And there are a lot of folks on there that will be glad to do your banner for you inexpensively if you're interested. Notice in my banner on the left-hand side, I have a couple lovingly looking at a house, how much they like it, a buyer. And then the next panel over on my banner, I have a house that's been sold. And then on my two smaller versions, my pictures over on the right, I have a house being built, where I also give a lot of information about how to build a house using feng shui. And then I'd have something with open houses, because that's a special part of what I offer to people, how to do a special open house with feng shui. So the banner really spoke to me. You notice it's also curvy. That's a big part of feng shui. So I try to incorporate a lot of things in there, but number one, you want it to be colorful. My photo is colorful. My tagline, as you can see, is using pretty much up 120 characters. Feng Shui training and certification, national speaker, Intrinsic School of Feng Shui owner/trainer, PBS contributor. I have changed my tagline hundreds of times, depending on what is going on at that particular time of the year. So there's an example. Here's what it looks like now. I've now changed direction a little bit. I now have opened up a school that actually certifies people to become professional consultants. It's called the Intrinsic School of Feng Shui. So my banner now is showing peace, stability, vacation, certainly again real estate, but also relationships and family. My tagline has changed, as you can see too. Again, I'm using pretty much close to 120 characters. I play with it and play with it until I'm happy with it. And if I have a little more room, I try to get something else on there. This time I've added an author. But again, work with the banner. It's very easy to add. It's very easy to put just a generic picture up there. You don't have to go with somebody that customizes it for you, at least to start. You might want to do it later. I've changed my photo also, maybe a little more professional looking, but still fairly colorful. So you got to make your profile page a magnet. You have to continue to work at it. You want to make sure somebody goes to your profile, checks you out thoroughly, and comes away with a positive impression. So it's important that we, again, work on the profile page to start with. We need to impress our visitor. So things to do first, okay? Make sure your photo is not like the ones to the right. Now this is going to be, a little bit of a humorous kind of thing, but these are not good photos. I've had many people who have seen this and they come up with the idea like I do. What is this lady doing? Is she walking an invisible dog? We just can't tell. We can't see her face. We have no idea exactly what she's doing. So that doesn't work. Here's one that's more colorful, but you don't really see this gentleman's face. And the microphone looks like it's sort of growing out of his chest right now. So I would rather him work on that one a little bit. And then whatever you do, do not do the next one. This person is like he's been on spring break his whole life. Not professional, okay? But you'll see some really crazy photos at times. And sadly, a lot of people don't put a photo on at all. You want to add a colorful banner. Again, it can be generic. It does not have to be fancy. You want to make sure you work really, really hard on your tagline. You want to make your about or your summary nice and compelling, but concise with keywords. And you want to fill out the rest of your profile completely. And so let's take another look at my profile page of the earlier version. You notice I have a colorful picture. I have a very colorful banner. Okay. My tagline uses a lot of keywords that I want to be known for. For example, feng shui, training, certification, speaker. Okay. These are all important words that I want a search, a LinkedIn search to pick up on. And then right here, for the first time, I'm going to show you that the first 3 lines of your about you, your summary, are all that show at this point. And some people don't even use 3 lines when they're doing their about. Some people leave this blank, which is amazing to me. Okay. My whole idea is that I want those 3 lines to catch their attention even further, that they hit see more, and they get to know more about me. So you want to spend extra time on your tagline and extra time on your first 3 lines of about to keep them curious and intrigued. Now these 2 down here that I've got the red arrows, you can put photos down here. You can put video down here. And you know probably at this point that video is a very powerful, powerful tool. So I have videos all over my profile. So let's talk about the tagline for a second. Very important. Here's a very poorly constructed tagline. Vice President of Sales at ABC Corporation. Nothing very distinct there. How about if he changed it to this? VP Sales, Revenue Growth, and Cloud-Enabled Technology Solutions. Product Development and Sales Operation Leadership. There are a lot of potential keywords in there that were important to him. That will be picked up on a search a lot faster if somebody types in some of those words. So you want to take into account how much room you have. The tagline is hugely important for a lot of reasons. Number one, it makes LinkedIn like you better. And secondly, it helps with you being picked up on a search. Okay, here's a young lady who is missing a lot of things. And the reason I'm picking on Cheryl is this. She has no photo. She has no banner. But then I want you to see this. That means that she's paying monthly to be on LinkedIn and is not doing the right things to actually be found. Sandy has a nice, colorful, welcoming picture. Her tagline is pretty good, but she has no banner. Phil has a good picture, has a generic banner, but it's fine, it's good. But again, he's not taking advantage of his tagline very well at all. Alice is doing some really good things, but her tagline also is missing the boat. Julie, same thing. Love her banner, love her photo, but her tagline really could look a lot stronger than that. And I'm going to do that right now for her. So I'm going to erase that and bring up something like maybe this. Maybe she works with first-time buyers and educators. Maybe she works downtown Atlanta and Marietta. Who would know? How would she be picked up if she didn't put something like that on her tagline? Use your 120 spaces. Monica is a superstar. Look at her banner. Her banner actually represents everything that she's into, everything that she represents. She's got a podcast. She works for Realtor Development. She works involved with NAR. Look at her tagline. A lot of keywords in there. She wants to be known as a speaker. Okay? Great photo, great banner. Now, let's go away from that just for a little bit and talk about something that most of you are not doing. You need to customize your LinkedIn URL. Now, when you join LinkedIn, LinkedIn actually generates a URL for you, or a way to get to your profile, an address. And nobody is ever going to type in one of these that has been generated. They're not easy to work with. So you want to change your LinkedIn URL so you can use it all over the place. So again, when you first join up, they generate something and you need to edit this and change it. It's very easy. This will help you with Google, Yahoo, and Bing on searches. But most important to me, you can place it in your advertising, on your business cards, to send people to your 24/7 advertisement so that they learn a lot about you and get comfortable with you and see that you are the expert that you say you are. So you put it on your flyers, you put it on your business cards, you put it on your website. But if you just take what LinkedIn has assigned you, believe me, it's not going to help you. So to customize it, here's what you do. Let me show you some examples that are not good because they didn't do it, and some that are good because they did customize it. Dan did not customize his. So there's what the URL for him looks like. I promise you, nobody's going to take the time to type that in. Same with Carla. She never customized hers either. Okay. And don't get me started on the tagline. Nobody's going to find her just by typing in broker or realtor. Laura did customize hers. She decided to use her name. She put her last name first, first name last. That's fine. So you probably, when you customize your URL, you probably use your name, or you'll do what I did. I used my company name. Deborah's a superstar. She customized her URL. So it's much easier to remember and much easier to type in. Here's mine. So again, I use the name of my company, the Feng Shui Cure. So whatever you do, make it easy for somebody to type it in and go to your 24/7 advertisement. So to do it, you edit your URL by going to contact and personal info on your profile. All right, your summary or your about. Real important. I told you the first 3 lines are what shows. And some people don't have anything there at all. Some people only have 1 line. Okay. And I'm going to show you some good ones and bad ones here too. But again, the whole idea is I want them to hit that see more. I want them to see the rest of my profile, the rest of my summary, the rest of my about. Here's my about at this particular time. And again, there are certain things in here I want to get across. I want that to be seen over and over. I want keywords to be in here so it helps with search. Certainly, I want the words feng shui to show up several times. Very important to me. But I also want them to know that I'm a consultant and I'm involved with certification. And in this case, I also put down the group that I had started, hoping they'll decide to join me. It's called Inspirational Feng Shui Ideas. But another thing that I like to do is I like to put testimonials in here, what other people say about me. I love testimonials. You should love testimonials also. Very, very great way to let other people know that some people think you are something special. Now, articles and activity is a section also on your profile. When I snipped this particular part of my profile, at that point I had 13,000 followers, okay? But what I want you to notice here is the colorful picture. This is a picture from the circus. I always try to pick pictures for my articles that are somewhat colorful, maybe even funny. And I also try to make sure my headline for my article is attracting too. But I want you to start again liking and commenting on people's posts. You'll find out it's got so many benefits to you if you just spend some time on your timeline when you go there every day and like a few of them, maybe comment on a few of them. It takes you so little time. And here's what happens. LinkedIn likes it a lot. It sees that you're very involved. So therefore you get stronger. But these people that you have liked or commented on also appreciate it a lot, and they remember you, and they might go to your profile. But even more importantly, what happens is that if you do this and their post or article keeps moving around over and over, going through the cycle of showing up, your name keeps showing up along with it. So you're just keeping your name in the public. So at this particular point, I had written 32 articles, and I continually try to write one every month or so. Here's another time a little later, and if you notice at this point, I now have grown up to this many connections. But again, I want you to look at the latest article that I wrote, and my title is A Unique Feng Shui School for Everyone. This is when I started my school called the Intrinsic School of Feng Shui. So I wrote an article about it, and it helped me to pick up some people deciding to take the training. Very important part. But again, by commenting on things and getting reactions, you stay in a cycle. You stay coming up on that timeline and their timeline. And then if they share that with their people, they see it too. So it's a domino effect. So commenting and liking seems very simple and almost something you don't think you should have to do every day, but you're really missing a big important thing. All right, let's start going down through the profile a little bit. A lot of people do not spend a lot of time on this, and they try not to put a lot here. I would like to see you put your experience totally on here as much as possible. So you can move these things around, but at the top of my experience at this point, I'm showing this: National Real Estate Educator, new certification. And the title of my company is the Feng Shui Cure. I've been at it, as you can see, for 15 plus years. And it gives me a chance to write a little bit about it and all that. But I want you to look at this one. This is a video of a radio interview that I gave, and I'm in the blue shirt to the right. So it gave me a chance to get some more information out there about me, about what I do. And then if some radio station thought it was important to talk to me, well, maybe he's worth knowing. And then this next one was Feng Shui Staging Professional Certification and CE. I do CE in Feng Shui for real estate in Florida. So again, it was a chance for me to do something. I want you to now look at this one. This is one of my graduates who actually won an award for her staging using Feng Shui. And she was brought up about that to a lot of folks. So I wanted to share that also. Still going down, again, I have a lot of experience, as you do too. And I'm not trying to miss any of these things. At this point, I was involved with Home Staging Pros as an advisor and producer. I was also, below it, involved with a national speaking organization called BetsWorks, and so forth and so forth. A lot of people forget education. I would definitely put your education in there. Don't think that it doesn't matter that you put your high school education in there. It does. It does. Put it in there. It shows where you went to school, who you might know that they do. Put it in there. Now, one very important section of your profile is this one. And a lot of people think this is nothing, that it's worthless. Boy, are you wrong. Skills and endorsements. All right, we're going to talk about skills here right now and being endorsed for them. And if you notice, some of them are 99 plus. It's just like back with the connections. You can't get any more than 500 plus. Doesn't matter if you have 501 or 15,000, you show up the same. Well, on endorsements like this of a skill, the highest it's going to show is 99 plus. So that might mean I only have 100 people that have endorsed me, or maybe 10,000. Doesn't matter. You can move these things around a lot and bring up something that you want people to possibly endorse you for to get up to the 99 plus. So I pushed up luxury homes up to the top 3. In LinkedIn, it only shows the top 3 unless you decide to hit view 35 more there. That's how many more I have. Now, who puts these skills up here? You do, okay? So if you want to be known for buyers, put it on here. If you want to be known for home sellers, put it on here. If you want to be known for home staging, put it on here. You got to put these things on here and then try to get some people to endorse them. It's not hard. It's not difficult. Now, that's one thing, okay? It makes you feel good when somebody endorses you. But here's what happens when you endorse other people. This is the big strength to this. When you endorse other people, they all of a sudden remember you. Because when you endorse somebody, it goes to their email that you endorsed them. It goes to their email. So right away they're saying, who's this? Oh, yeah, I remember that person. Or they go to your profile to try to figure out who you are. So all of a sudden, they're starting to remember you. And maybe then they're going to refer you to somebody. Okay? You're just poking them over and over, letting them know that you're still there. You're still in business. So this is a great thing to use periodically with everybody in your network. Really, really powerful if you use it that way. So if you click on 35 more down here, that's how many more I've got. You'll see the rest of them. Now, recommendations or testimonials, as you know, are very important. You can't pay for this. This is such great PR for you. So these are two that are showing for me. I've got three more down at the bottom that you can click on to look at them too if you want. But these are very important to you. You know how nice it is for somebody else to say something good about you. So anyway, I can't pay for this. Working with Steve opened new doors of opportunity for me. What a wonderful experience. Fantastic. So these are people are saying that you really, really know what you're doing. So you must get LinkedIn users to your profile page. You got to get them there. So important. And then once you get them there, you've got to knock their socks off and impress them. So how do we get them there? Good question. Several ways to do it. Here's one way. At the home page or the timeline, just like and comment, and people will go to your profile. That's one way. You can also write articles so people discover you that way. And your first connections, if they like it, they'll share it with their followers. And those followers then might eventually become your followers or first connections. So you want to do this. You want to write one every month. Again, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be one paragraph. Some real estate agents are just putting their latest listing on there. They're putting their listing, their picture of the house. That's one way to do it. But I also like you to write some other stuff about, that is real estate oriented to show that you're an expert. So how do you do this? Well, this is where you go. It's that simple. You go where write an article on LinkedIn is. So you click on there, this page comes up. You have to put a colorful picture in. Okay, very important. You also want to write a headline that is somewhat catchy. Don't be blah here. Here's an example of one of mine to give you an example of what I do. All right, the picture's sort of a little funny, a little crazy. Great, but it's colorful. And then look at my headline. Don't let your home make them queasy. Do you think I had a lot of people that decided to at least read this and see who is Steve Kodad and what is this all about? Here are some of my other articles. Again, I try to write one at least once a month. It gives me a lot of press. It opens up to a lot of other people knowing about me. I try to have a fairly colorful picture, or at least a crazy picture. And then I also try to make sure the headline catches their interest. Now, this is going to be controversial for you, but it's also good for you. LinkedIn has one of the lowest engagement rates of any of the social platforms. Now, how can that be good? How can having a low engagement rate be good for you and me? Well, simple, because you're going to stand out, because you are going to be a high engagement person, somebody who stands out. So when somebody has a birthday, you're going to congratulate them. So when somebody gets promoted, you're going to congratulate them. Somebody does a post, you're going to like it or comment on it. Not all of them, maybe only 5 a day, but you're doing something every day to promote yourself. You're letting them know that you're treating them as being special. So do the following consistently for your first connections, and you become a high engagement connection, and they will remember you. So go to the home page once or twice a day at least, like or comment some posts. Every time you go there, take you a minute or less, write an article with a unique photo and a headline once a month at least, systematically endorse some people, 5, 10 a day. Okay, show that you remember them and they'll remember you. Wish all your people a happy birthday each day when it's their special day with a unique message. And I'll show you how I do that in a moment. You got to understand you may only have 4 or 5 birthdays that day, maybe less, maybe none. I have usually 25 to 35 every day because of the number of connections I have. But I have a very simple way of handling it so that they feel special and they get congratulated. I also congratulate them on promotions or new jobs. And by doing all this, they remember you, they remember me. So again, everybody wants to be liked, but they also like comments, and they're very, very strong and powerful for you if you just do that little exercise every day. They'll remember you. What you want to always do is this. Always, always, always use a picture when you post. And the more it is colorful, the better. If you look down at the bottom, images get a whopping 98% more comments. And what happens when there's a comment or a like? Well, it goes into the system and keeps circling around, and it keeps showing up. Your post keeps showing up. Your name keeps showing up. Your picture keeps showing up. So the first thing in the morning, what I do, I pull up this Word document and I copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Again, if you look at my birthday message at this particular point, it was, wow, I see it as your birthday, XXXXX. Hope it is amazing. Never mourn, just celebrate. Why? Because the cake is on the way. And then I have my website link. It's a little bit amusing. It's a little bit catchy. They'll remember it a little bit more. They might look me up on my profile. They might even go to my website. All of them are good things for me. So if you notice, they're all generic messages for different occasions, for connection, for birthday, for job promotion. I copy and paste, copy and paste. And then if you notice where the X's and the Z's are, I just type in their first name. So I've personalized it and send it. That's it. You know how long it takes me to do 30 birthdays? About 7 minutes. So I think you could do your birthdays just fine every day without it taking too much time. And you're showing them that they're special. So this is the way I have done it, and it works wonders for me. So personalize it. You know that the sound of your name sounds good. So if you don't personalize it, it doesn't come off the same way. So try to do that. All you got to do is type in their first name. Now, I like using my website that I want them to go there. It helps me on Google because people go to it. Okay. All that is important, but I want to tell you a real quick thing that I found out that doesn't please people. Take it off birthday message. Take it off the birthday message. Some people have reacted poorly to that because when it's their special day, they don't want any advertising, which I understand. So I have now taken that off there. Here's another time that I was using these messages. I change my birthday message every year, usually around January 1st. So it's a different one. My birthday message here, if you want to read along with me, is it's your special day, XXXX. Hope you had a good year and your favorite cake is on the way. I wish you a happy birthday. This is one day you can have your cake and eat it too. May the chi be with you always. Intrinsic School of Feng Shui. If you'd like to join my LinkedIn group at Inspirational Feng Shui Ideas, let me know. That was a message that I was using for several months. I decided then to take the last line off just because it was a little too wordy. And when it gets too wordy, they tune out a little bit. Now, I did not put my website in there, but I did put the name of my school, Intrinsic School of Feng Shui. They can easily type that in themselves or copy it onto the line up at the top and check it out that way. But I don't put an advertisement in there. I just sign off with the name of my school. Okay, so these gives you some ideas. I just copy and paste, copy and paste. And again, in 7 minutes or so, I have not only done all the birthdays, but I've also done all the promotions. So again, you can use just this kind of wording for your website. You don't even have to put the www in. So Intrinsic School of Feng Shui.com would take them right there too. It's less at this point. When you're trying to connect with somebody, LinkedIn does not allow you to put in a website. That's why it's not there. You can't do that. And again, for happy birthday, I took out the .com so it doesn't come off as an advertisement. Okay, let's take a look at this. Some of you check who's viewed your profile every morning. If you have a free version, it only shows the last 5. I have a paid version, so I get everybody who's checked my profile for a long, long time. So I like to check who's viewed my profile, who's shown some interest, who may or may not be first connections. If they're not a first connection and they checked my profile out, that means they're interested. So I send them an invitation to connect with me immediately. Here's an example. One day I had 728 profile views in the past 90 days. If you look at the top, that's a lot. And then the person at the top, Michael Dennis Jr., I could see that there was a connect there. That meant he was not a first connection. He's a second connection. But Michael had some interest in whatever I do. So therefore, Michael is going to get an invite to become a first connection from me. I'm going to copy and paste, and put his name in. So click on Michael. Do not click on connect, because that at that point will not give you the opportunity to do a special personal message. Click on Michael. Michael comes up. I click on connect now. And it gives me the choice to just add a note or just send. I don't ever hit just send now. It's not personal. So I hit add a note. I go to my Word page, copy wish to connect at that point. I then paste it. I then change the X's to Michael. I then hit send invitation, and that's all I had to do. Now, whether Michael is going to accept or not, who knows? But if you make it personal, you have a much better shot to have another connection who is interested in whatever you do. If you're a paid customer of LinkedIn, you get a chance to use InMail. And this means you can send a message to anybody on LinkedIn all over the world. They only give you a limited number of them, okay? For basic or the free account, you get none of them. But if you upgrade to an account, a premium account or further, you get so many InMails. You get a specific number. I'm getting 15 every 90 days. But after the 90 days, they expire and you get a new set. So use them up. So if you want to use InMail, you have to upgrade. And this will allow you to see everybody that comes to your profile and visits you. But you have to be a paid user. So my daily plan, and it doesn't matter if you're free or you're paying to do these things. I go to my home page, which is my timeline. I make sure that I like or comment on at least 5 posts. This is my rule for me. So every time I go to LinkedIn, whether I go there once or 4 times that day, I try to like or comment on 5 posts at least. More the better if you got the time. I pull down the menu under notifications, which is to the far right, and see whose birthday it is. And I do copy and paste on my birthdays. I then congratulate people on their promotions or new jobs. Copy and paste, copy and paste. Okay, again, doesn't take long. And then I try to endorse several people every day, 5 to 10 people at least, of a couple of their skills to remind them that I still exist. Here's what I do with first connections. Second connections, if I'm paid, I type or click on who's viewed my profile. I send out an invitation to those who had looked at it and were not a connection of mine. Again, if you're free, you only get the last 5. I do a targeted search every day at least once, and I visit profiles, at least 20 profiles a day. And what this does, it leaves a footprint that I went there and looked at their profile. So if they pull up who's viewed their profile, they'll see that Steve Kodad decided to go to their profile and take a look. I then invite folks, okay, that I've targeted every day. And of course, I use the good old Word document that I showed you. So there's my daily plan. Now, how do you do a search? Just in case you don't know how to do a search and how valuable a search is, let me show you. Why do I do this? I'm finding people that I want to target, that I hope will be a connection and then hopefully a client of mine down the road. Now, if you have less than 500 connections and you want to get right away to 500 plus, here's a quick way to do it. You're going to focus on people that are referred to as lions. And I'm not talking about what you see down at the bottom right-hand corner. A lion can be typed into the last name or into title. And then when you hit select, it'll bring up folks that are lions. Now, what's a lion? Lion stands for LinkedIn Open Networker. In other words, these people are letting you know that they will connect with you immediately. Do they all connect with you immediately? No. I would say 7 out of 10 do. Some of them are lazy, I guess. They procrastinate. But you can actually do this with real estate agents. You can type in lion at last name and title down at the bottom, real estate agent, and you can bring up all the lions that are real estate agents all over the country, which are quite a few, and you can connect with them at least. Or there might be certain industries that you're more interested in. But if you need to pick up some really quick connections to get to 501, this is a good way to do it. Lions. Hate to tell you this, but you're going to need some patience with respect to using LinkedIn as a tool. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it can be tremendously rewarding for you. But here's several ways for you to consider using LinkedIn to target potential clients. As I mentioned earlier, I was a realtor and co-owner of a 30-plus agent real estate company in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was a realtor there for close to 20 years and an owner of a company, broker owner, for about 8. Areas of potential that I had noticed and that you can work so strongly with LinkedIn. I noticed that people were moving from specific areas to the Queen City, which is the nickname of Charlotte, a lot. I also noticed that particular companies were transferring employees in and out a lot. So therefore, I wanted to have very strong referral relationships with agents in those specific areas. So if I was still an active realtor in Charlotte, this is what I would do. I had noticed that a lot of folks from Buffalo, New York, were moving to Charlotte. So I would target people from Buffalo and real estate agents. I also know in Charlotte that Microsoft and Monsanto had branches, and they transferred people in and out from their headquarters. So I would make sure that I had connections with Seattle, that's Microsoft, of course, and St. Louis, which is Monsanto's headquarters. I'd have strong referral connections with agents in Buffalo, Seattle, and St. Louis. I'd put a lot more attention on those areas. And I would be making sure that I had connections with multiple agents in those areas for the referrals. And LinkedIn can help me do this where these other social media platforms cannot. So using Buffalo as our city to lure residents to Charlotte, let's do a search. Just in case you don't know how to do this, at the top of your page to the left-hand side on LinkedIn, you hit click right here. You then click on people, and you should just go to all filters, which makes this so much easier instead of trying to do it piecemeal. So you go to all filters, and you're going to be using title a lot. When Microsoft bought LinkedIn, it changed a lot of the criteria that you could search on. It used to be that you had a lot more to work with. Now you got to be a little more creative. So you're going to use title, and I don't mean just Mr. and Mrs. or Doctor. You can type in real estate agent, realtor, home stager, car salesman, nurse, right there. And then you hit apply up at the top right, and you'll have those people come up. So we would hit either first or second connection, depending on what we're trying to do. We would pick the location that we're trying to work with. In this case, it's going to be Buffalo. If you want to work with just specific agents and specific companies, you can do that too. So I clicked on Buffalo, which it comes up as Buffalo, Niagara. I decided to use the word realtor in title. And what comes up is this: 418 people. Now, I'm not going to be interested in every one of them. And maybe you're getting the idea why, I don't know. But if they don't have a photo, I don't even think about them. They don't have a photo, they haven't taken the time to do that. easy little task, they're probably not on LinkedIn too much or really care about it much. So I'd click on all of the people that I have an interest in, like John, the first one, and I notice that John does have 500 plus connections. That means that John at least works on LinkedIn, at least keeps up with LinkedIn. And I also would notice that down here on experience, that he's been with the company, the real estate company in Buffalo, for 15 years. So John's a good person for me to know and to connect with. So I would send him a connection to try to create that relationship. So I want to have referral relationships with many, many Buffalo real estate agents. And at the same time, I want to start adding connections in Buffalo, maybe in particular industries, but all of them are candidates for me adding to my collection of first connections. Because they might not move to Charlotte, but they might know somebody else that is interested eventually moving to Charlotte, because a lot of them are moving to Charlotte. So why not? So you can call it the Buffalo campaign. If you pick up the second person on that list of 416, Tina comes up and she's strong too. Here's a tricky little thing that I like using. I like to do comparisons like this sometimes. If you look at the picture on the left-hand side, this is Buffalo in late February. Here's Charlotte in late February, early March. Oh, which one do I like best? Decisions. Should I stay or should I go? Stay with the long winter in Buffalo or a short winter and long spring in Charlotte? The springs in Charlotte are just amazing, folks. So if I was a real estate agent in Charlotte, North Carolina still, I'd be pushing how beautiful the springs are in Charlotte. They start early with the Bradford pears. Those have these beautiful white blooms all over the city like it snowed. And then it just keeps on moving from one different type of tree or plant to another. So the spring in Charlotte goes on for a month or so. Anyway, look at this comparison. How about if I clipped this and post it and put it on LinkedIn? And notice up at the top it says, why wait? You've never seen a spring as beautiful and long as the one in Charlotte. Contact me for your real estate plans and get the royal touch. Don't you think a lot of people from the Buffalo, Niagara area are going to see this? Don't you think some of them are going to share it with some of their connections? Don't you think that my name would then show up a lot more? And maybe they'd write it down somewhere. Okay? So you can use things like this to get the point across to many people in the Buffalo area that are not even your first connections. Another great way to network is to use groups. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of groups on LinkedIn. Some of them you're not interested in, probably. Some of them you are very interested in. It's a great way to be able to talk with these people freely, even if they're not first connections, and get your word out there, get your name out there. I'm going to give you some example of potential group names that I have advocated to people around the country when I talk to their associations, whether it was in New Jersey and Boston or Las Vegas or Atlanta. Life in Cape Cod, there's a name of a group. Retiring, moving, and loving it. Maybe you work with seniors or you want to work with seniors. Why not start a group where they can come together and you can be the expert? Benefits are buying in Fulton County, that's in Atlanta. Making great home buying decisions in Knoxville. Fox Run, a great place to call home. Yeah, you can pick on a subdivision or an area of your town. Moving from Buffalo to Charlotte, okay? That would be a good group for me if I was still in real estate in Charlotte. And this is the name of my group. I I'd love you to decide to join me at some time. Inspirational feng shui ideas. Okay, this is what my page looks like for inspirational feng shui ideas. Now, how do you start a group? This is so hard. Just kidding. You go up to work, top right, click on work, go to groups, go to create group. That's it, folks. So then you name it, and you just fill out what they want you to fill out. You got yourself a group, and then just sort of advertise it. Try to get people to join. Maybe your first connections. Put on a post that's talking about your new group. Okay, there's so many ways to create a network on LinkedIn. Now, these are some of my groups. You might like some of these. You might not want to worry about any of them. Okay, but there are a lot of groups in here that could be really beneficial to you. If you notice at the top is my group, Inspirational Feng Shui Ideas. At this particular moment, I was brand new and I was just got to 49 members. But I want you to look at some of the other numbers here. Whoops. Let me go back for just a second. Luxury Real Estate Network. Look at the numbers. 101,426. Wow. A lot of possibilities there. And you look at some of these other ones, a lot of huge numbers of members of a group. So no matter where you are, there are groups that could be of interest to you. These are some of the other groups that I'm a member of. Okay. Here's corporate real estate, 175,000. Here's home staging professionals. That's important to me. It's not quite 7,000, but again, those are people that I'm very interested in. Here's home staging professionals page. And there's how many members again are part of this. And you can talk to these people very easily, very freely. You can like their post here and comment, and they will definitely see who you are even more so. So again, I want to show you an example. Here's a person that's part of that group, of a home staging group. Rebecca, I decided, I wrote her, read her post, and I just typed in, "Great idea, Rebecca." That took me a long time, right? Not much at all, but Rebecca got the message. Rebecca would then become a first connection. Rebecca knew who I was. How about Scott up at the top? Okay. I looked at his article and I said, "Love it, Scott." You don't have to write big comments here, folks. You can like or comment anything on your groups too. And it even has more of a powerful connection. So again, these are some of my groups that I'm members of. There are hundreds of them that might be of interest to you. I'm a dog lover, as you can see. Okay. I'm also interested in overseas property investment. You might be too. So we're going to focus on one city in Tennessee for just a moment. I'm going to focus on Knoxville to show you what you might do in Knoxville. But you're going to be able to use this in your city and town also. So there are a lot of different industries that you can find potential clients. These are some of them. But if you hit add, you'll find there's even more. And I'm only showing you just a little bit of the possible industries that might have people that are going to decide to work with you. Banking, entertainment, higher education, primary and secondary school teachers. Lots of folks on LinkedIn from there. So Knoxville, when I did a little digging, found that these are the major employers in Knoxville. Okay, the United States Department of Energy in Oak Ridge, University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and so forth and so forth. So if I did a little digging, a little research, I could find out there's a lot of connections between some of these. And there's a lot of people on LinkedIn that work for some of these. So if I was a real estate agent in Knoxville, I find out that the Covenant Health, which was on there, its headquarters are in Knoxville. Over 9,000 employees. And Covenant Health is in a lot of different places in this country. There's also over 1,800 LinkedIn members that are working for Covenant Health. And health professionals move around a lot. There's their headquarters. Knoxville Public Schools, oh, look at this, 3,258 employees are on LinkedIn that work for the Knoxville Public Schools. And there's what their offices look like downtown Knoxville. Knoxville residents on LinkedIn, 372,000. Okay. University of Tennessee has over 6,000 connections on LinkedIn, and that's the picture of their football stadium. All of these people are possible. Again, further digging, I found out that Alcoa, its headquarters are in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with over 955 employees on LinkedIn. 443 Alcoa employees work and live in Knoxville. And they transfer people back and forth a lot. If I was a real estate agent, I would look into trying to get involved with Alcoa. Here's a second grade teacher, Miranda Haney. Okay, Miranda is just starting out. She has 6 connections. Do you think Miranda is someday going to buy a house? Why don't you become the first real estate agent in Knoxville to connect with Miranda, so when her day comes, you're the person she thinks about? How about Rayleigh? She's only got 4 connections. She also goes to the University of Tennessee as a neuroscience student. She's going to buy a house someday. So is Valerie. She's going to do the same thing. So start connecting with these people in your area that are not, at this point, affiliated with a real estate agent. Keep up with them. Matthew, he's a student at the University of Tennessee. He's going to be working in the school system, it looks like. Get Matthew on your side. Get Courtney on your side. There are so many people that you want to connect with if you're a real estate agent, not just the doctors possibly in the area, not just the bankers. Think outside that box. So find out where folks may transfer from and target them. Monsanto, for example, is a good-sized company, Fortune 500, over 20,000 employees globally. And their headquarters are in St. Louis, Missouri. Isn't that interesting? So if I was a Charlotte real estate agent once again, and I knew that the research center for Monsanto was in a little town outside of Charlotte called in Kannapolis, North Carolina, I might think of some ways to possibly get involved with Monsanto employees. So let's do a search of second connections in St. Louis who work for Monsanto. Okay. I did second in St. Louis for Monsanto. I only got 5. But if you look at their titles, all of these are people that you'd probably want to have as a connection. If you have them as a connection and they know somebody that's moving from St. Louis to Kannapolis, which is outside Charlotte, okay, I might have an in. So anyway, here's Monsanto's headquarters. That's what it looks like. Here's Monsanto's research center in Kannapolis, North Carolina. That's what it looks like. Do you understand that there's a back and forth of moving and buying and referring? Take advantage of what's going on in your area. Do some research, and LinkedIn can help you so much. Now, you may work and live in a very small town. You might not have a Monsanto or a Microsoft. So, what occupations are present in all areas of our country? Well, how about teachers and nurses? They come to your area to live and work. Some of them come from colleges and universities that consistently send people to your area. So, as an example, I'm using Toms River, New Jersey here, and I use LinkedIn to look at medical employees and educators. I found out that Rutgers, Brookdale Community College, and Ocean County College were prime movers and shakers in this area. So I did a lot of research and searching on these on LinkedIn. I found Rutgers in education have 1,723 people who live in the Toms River area. I found Brookdale Community College, just for the medical practice, I found 393 people that live in that area. Now, I'm almost done here, but I hope I've given you a lot of really, really super ideas about how to really work this. LinkedIn is a really powerful platform. And you're really missing the boat if you not decide to put almost all of your time online on LinkedIn. They have a premium plan that for 30 days you can use for free. Take advantage of it. If you don't like it, just cancel before the 30 days are up and you haven't paid a dime and you've learned a lot more. LinkedIn has so much going for it, including all this educational programs on here that are given to you for free that you can look at. But the premium plan does open up a lot of other windows. You might want to try it. You might like it, you might not. You might decide after 30 days that are free to try it for 1 month. I'll show you how expensive that is. It's not much. Or you might decide to try it for a year. You might not want to go that route at all. That's fine. So use those 30 days smartly by adding lots of connections. Use the daily plan during this period to perfect it for your first and second connections. And if you really want to use LinkedIn, as I outlined, okay, consider being a premium user for 1 month, maybe a full year. That's up to you. 1 month, it's $30. For a year, you're going to pay less per month. But give it a try. But even if you decide not even to give the premium plan a 30-day trial, use LinkedIn. You'll find out you really, really like it. It's a great way to use the internet. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. And LinkedIn is really the way for you to go.